Today, I thinking about road to 50 million, 50 million people. My commitment is to find and help 50 million people to discover and serve with their divine gifts. Sometimes when I think about, or last year it was 10 million, from October 14th of 2021 to October 14th of 2022, it's scary to pick a big number. And more to think about two things. One, the how, like how am I going to do that? How is that even possible? And another thing is to think about why would I do that? Both of those can be overwhelming. The how, because I don't know. I mean, obviously there are broadcasts and movies and things that reach that scope. So they're obviously a thought and part of my thinking and part of the process. But I don't have a magic how. And so I quit worrying about that because I know that there exists a reality in which I've already done 50 million, maybe 100, maybe 500. I know there's such a reality. And I know that the line between something we've brought into existence and already created and that existing in the field of possibility is almost non-existent. So what is that line made out of between possibility you think of or I think of and its being in existence? Well, I think that possibility is just will and effort. I can see in my mind's eye, with my heart of faith and belief and trust and commitment and choice, a place where I have loved enough to have poured love on the hearts of 50 million souls and to have them feel that. One of the statements I say every day to remind myself of my goal is, I am love, and pour over your heart like warm sunshine. And even as I say that or think of it, I get a mix of chills and excitement and an upwelling of love. And sometimes it even brings me to tears. Today, I want to talk about gratitude because after I thought about how and realized I don't know and I don't need to know. And after I thought also about why, and I'll talk more about that in another one, like why would I even do this? There's some really specific reasons that I have chosen. Like I don't know what all your whys will be for whatever you choose. But I know they're there whether we articulate them or not. And then I am now in a place where I know this will happen. That reality is created by my words and love. The people, the resources, the collaborations will come. And again, I invite you, if you have an idea or you'd like to be part of this, to send me a note. Let's chat. And as soon as you do, as soon as I see it, I'll send you an invitation to connect and we can talk about that. Because I see that clearly and excitedly, I'm overwhelmed with a feeling of gratitude. Just deep, soul stirring gratitude in me. And there are lots of pieces to it, but I wanted to talk about a couple of those pieces and then what it does and how that reflects in other areas of life. So I'm grateful that I'm well enough, healthy enough. I have the physical health and spiritual yearning to do this. Just so grateful. You know, if you've read any of my story, that I died 4 years ago and I was reduced to complete flatline. But there was a time when I was paralyzed from the waist down and all the rest. Very recently, I mean, in the last 4 years. And having then been by miracle restored to health, and certainly not perfect, but restored to health and vibrancy, my gratitude is overwhelming on a daily basis. I often just am overcome emotionally, even weep for gratitude. So in that gratitude, I thought, how how do I express the gratitude? I can say a million times how grateful, can meditate and pray, and those things are good, and send infinite quantities of loving kindness in the world, which I try to do, and I'm sure you do. And I thought, what else? What else? What else? Because there must be more. And I think that because we're all infinite beings, come from an infinite place. And I realized helping as many people as I possibly can. And this year I picked 50 million to understand who they really are. So gratitude for my own capability to do this, to imagine it, to think it, to know people, to have already talked to some of you who've reached out, even in the last few days. I started these messages officially, Road to 50 million just a few days ago. But I talked about this with several people, and I've had lots of people talk to me, offer ideas, want to help and be part of this, and already been blessed with huge and beautiful, unbelievable things, right, that have happened and are continuing to happen. And I'm looking forward to many, many, many more. So that's one little piece of gratitude that I feel. The second piece of gratitude that I feel is to feel viscerally and experientially how the universe responds. I talked before about Thoreau's statement, move confidently in the direction of your dreams, and things change. The universe moves too, and that's been said in a number of ways by a number of people, and I refer to Thoreau's comment on Walden Pond, that when you move boldly in the direction of your dreams, new laws seem to come into effect. The world seems to operate differently, and people have codified that by calling it the secret and the law of attraction and all kinds of other things. And whatever you call it, the truth is I'm experiencing that. And I'm so grateful for that. It's just validation of not only the thought of the love and the encouragement that I am feeling and want to share, but of the truth of unseen forces that are available to every one of us, because there's nothing different about me than you, except I've decided to do this thing, and there are things I'm sure you've decided to do. When you decide firmly, stuff happens, and the more firmly you decide, the more stuff happens. And the more clearly you move in the direction you decide, you make a firm and unalterable declaration to move in that direction, then stuff happens faster. I use this, and so I'm grateful for that truth too. My own health, the fact that the universe works like that. One of my statements in my PTAC is the universe conspires for my good, and that's kind of fun to think about. So I picked this picture here of this fellow in the desert because it takes some courage to, and I made up a story about this. I don't know the person, and I don't know the desert, and I don't know the backpack, or the jacket, but just to move in a direction in the face of uncertainty or perhaps daunting odds. There is a commitment, there is a choice, there is a movement that is clear and declared. And this picture just resonated with me today, and I thought, I'm going to use it for the background. So I'm grateful for all that, and I'm grateful for all of you that watch this, and for those of you that will reach out, because every time I do this, I get another message or two or three or four, and the growth, the mob, the united force increases. The next thing I wanted to talk about is the power of gratitude itself. I listed some specific things, three things that I'm grateful for. One, my own health. Two, the laws of the universe which conspire for each of us when we move in a powerful direction. And then for the individuals that have already begun to mobilize to create this wave of hope, a wave of possibility, a wave of opportunity. Can you imagine with me just for a second If 50 million people deep in their hearts realized in a powerful way that caused them to act that they were divine beings and that they had infinite potential and that everything happens for them, not to them, for each of us, including our hardships. Just what would that change be? How would your life change? I don't know. Mine changed hugely and continues because I live in that truth every day. The power of gratitude itself has been the subject of a lot of stuff. And here's what I know. When I when I live or have lived in the avoidance mode, like I'm trying to avoid negative things, I'm gonna try not to have stuff fail, break, be bad, etc. My life doesn't go very well. There's one of the songs that I will do. I did one yesterday, Invitation, and one's called Heart in the Sky. And the chorus goes, stand with your heart in the sky and your feet on the ground. But one of the verse parts says, always play in the game, not to lose. Well, there's a huge difference between playing a game or engaging in an endeavor not to lose and going after something determined to succeed. I've noticed that living in a place of avoiding loss is disempowering and doesn't work very well, and I don't get a lot done, even if I avoid every single loss, even if I avoid all the things I was worried about, which you almost never do, or at least I almost never did. But playing with that attitude and feeling didn't ever feel good or accomplish much. Strange. So then I notice, since I choose to live in absolute gratitude, because I'm healed by divine love, because I've seen the things I've seen. And you know what? I live in gratitude just because I can, just because I said so. And that's the most powerful thing, because anyone can do that. You can choose to be grateful. Anyway, what I've noticed is when I go after things not to avoid loss, but for the adventure alone, or to get it done no matter what, again, those universal laws seem to change and cool stuff happens. I love it. It's magic. It's as close to magic like Harry Potter stuff as I've ever seen, where things just happen. And gratitude seems to convey that power. It seems to bequeath those favors, living in constant gratitude. I made a choice a long time ago to every single thing that happens to just be grateful, to speak it out loud. Grateful. Thank you. Especially when there were, things happen and you could brush it off, coincidence, just how life works. But every single thing, especially anything that was positive or not negative, grateful. And I attribute it all to the universe or the divine. And thank you and thanking God is every other breath that I speak to myself. And thanking people around me. And that may or may not sound silly to you, but what I notice is that it brings more and more and more and more, and it leverages exponentially. So the road to 50 million people is going to be helped along because I live every second in gratitude. And in the deepest of gratitude, I again ask for you to help if you'd like, if you feel called to help or to be part of this. Spread the message. Spread this word. I want to help you, 50 million people, discover and serve with your divine gifts. We are built as humans to love and serve each other. I got to go to church this morning. I love it every time I get to go, but it's special for me now, as of about a month and a half or 2 months ago, or maybe a little more, because I get to play the organ in church for congregational singing. And we've been in this, our church does congregations by geography. So when we moved, we were in a different congregation. And because I play well and have played for all my life, in every congregation I've been in, or nearly everyone, for all of my adult life, for 40 or 50 years, I've been called, requested, asked to be the organist and the pianist, and sometimes the choir director, and sometimes all of them, depending on a lot of things. And my wife and I were in this congregation for not quite 2 years, about a year and 3 quarters. And sure enough, then I got the lady that was doing it decided to go do some missionary work. And so she's gone now for a year and a half or something to go serve a mission, a relief mission, doing some relief work. And as soon as they announced that, I thought to myself, here it comes. I'm going to get asked. And I was excited. And a couple of weeks ago, I had a chance to talk in church, and I was being a little bit funny. And I said, I finally feel like I'm in our congregation. We call them wards, WARD, like a city district or something. But anyway, I finally feel like I'm part of the ward. Why? Because I'm the organist. I've always been the organist. And now that that's happened, I feel like I guess I'm finally here, right? And I was so grateful that I got to go do that. And I got to go worship today. And I was looking forward and excited to talk to you about this, to reaffirm my commitment to love you and to affirm to you, no matter what, that you're a divine being, you have gifts, you have talents, and you have a mission, and you are happiest when you are loving and serving those around you. I say that not because I'm trying to be Nostradamus or some other weird thing. I just know that's how we're built. And I invite you to love everyone around you in a visible and tangible way, and spread that invitation to serve, to go out of your way, to be kind, to lift and bless those around you. I invite you also to share experiences with me. Send me notes, put them in comments. Let's start this growth process, or this wave of love, as you and I work together to reach 50 million people in the next almost 11 months now, because it started October 14th, and we're almost November 14th. 50 million. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.